Finovate showcases cutting-edge banking and financial technology through a global conference series featuring short-form demos and thought leadership. Now, the conversation continues on the Finovate podcast.
Hi, and welcome to the Finovate podcast. We are continuing our conversations with the FinovateEurope Best of Show winners. And joining me today, we have Zehra Cataltepe, CEO and co-founder of Tazi.ai. Zehra, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Greg, for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So obviously, if you've been listening for the last couple of weeks, you know the videos of all of the demos from Finovate Europe are available online at finovate.com/videos. For those of us who haven't seen your 7-minute demo, though, Zehra, can you start by just talking through what Tazi is all about?
Thank you, Greg. So we are a startup. Actually, we are a scale-up now, San Francisco-based. We provide a software as a service machine learning platform which enable business experts to stay in control of the AI models. But we also empower the data science and machine learning engineering teams. And the way we do that is through our technology. Our technology consists of ability to continuously learn from the data as the business and world changes. We provide continuous explanations to the business users, and for them the ability to give feedback to the models so that the models are aligned with the business all the time. So we serve business users not in sandboxes, but in production. It's so much easier to create value with us, so much faster. And it's also so much easier to maintain the models. So in a nutshell, that's what we provide.
Yeah, I mean, I really would recommend anybody listening to go back and take a look at the demo video where they're able to kind of lay it out and you can actually see the product as well. I'd like to start by just getting into kind of a high-level question. Obviously, there are a lot of companies that are out there that are promising big results in the artificial intelligence or machine learning space, but I think it's difficult for financial institutions sometimes to differentiate between all of those potential service providers. What really makes Tazi different from everybody else who's in that space?
Great question, Greg. So, nobody wants to really do AI. People want solutions to their problems, and financial institutions are the same. So, a financial institution has at least 3 choices. One of them is to build their own AI solution using Python-like, tools. The other one is to go with a machine learning platform or a point solution. The problem with the point solutions is they are easier to use, they are point and click, but they are so difficult to adapt to the existing needs and the dynamic market conditions. The problem with the platforms is they are really addressing the needs of the data scientists, and there's a huge gap between the requirements of business and the data scientists' creations. So as Tazi, we are in between being a point solution and a platform. Our platform is closer to the business user because we are able to create a solution that fits the basic needs in a very short time, end-to-end, in deployment. And then the business basically looks at the problem and then the solution, and then they're like, okay, this fits my needs, but it doesn't fit my needs in the following ways. There are huge numbers of iterations. Sometimes in about 4 weeks, we are able to usually create a solution that works. But in those 4 weeks, business gives feedback to models a number of times to make it right. Because creating a machine learning solution that works is not an easy problem, but it's not the problem of the data scientist. It should be the problem of both business user and the data scientist. So our differentiator is we make that communication much easier between the data science or machine learning engineer and the business team. So the requirements of business are met much faster for the initial model. And also, the maintenance is much easier because of continuous learning, many different interfaces. outlining the performance, the business value, as well as how machine learning works, how machine learning model works and makes decisions, so that business is able to take actions to increase the revenue or whatever the business KPIs they have in mind.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think really the way you're able to keep humans involved in the process is really impressive. And I think that's one of the things that I'm sure resonated a lot with the folks in the audience. One of the other things that I really, that kind of stuck out in my mind was the sort of continual focus that you had throughout the demo and as a company on making sure that you're pointing Tazi towards areas where it's really going to directly impact the bottom line. Where do you see customers kind of deploying Tazi to the greatest effect?
First of all, I want to point out that this is an economy-related question. So when the economy is good or bad, companies tend to focus on different values or different points where they need to concentrate. So currently, we see especially customer retention, but retaining customers that provide, long or short-term value or revenue or profits to the company. We find that to be a very important focus point. And the other one is sales forecasting. I know this is not so relevant for the finance industry, but in general, forecasting what will happen in the future based on complex and different sources of data. So we found those two to be quite relevant for our customers right now.
Yeah,
maybe I want to tell just a little bit about the customer retention, if I have just one more minute.
Oh yeah, by all means, of course.
I just love solving the customer retention problem with our clients, because even identifying what your customer brings value for you, identifying what does it mean for the customer to be retained, is an important question. That value and that retention label, once you unearth them, you realize a lot of things about your business. And then customer retention isn't just about predicting in advance, enough in advance so that you can take actions to prevent churn, but it's also about understanding what your customers need right now and what don't you have it in your product. What are your customers doing? I'm sorry, what are your competitors doing? And what are the dynamic conditions in the market? So you are able to understand all of those by looking at what your existing customers are doing. So I really value that as a place to always keep an eye and being customer focused in your business.
Oh, totally. I mean, I'm really glad you brought that up, because I think it's really important for everybody to understand. I have another follow-up question. Have you seen anybody kind of point your technology towards an area that really surprised you? Any kind of, off the wall or just unexpected applications that you can share to kind of demonstrate just how far reaching it really is?
Yes, sure. So one of the surprising factors for me was how people can adapt to machine learning once they understand how it works. So I have seen business users who did feature selections. So feature selection is a very machine learning related term, which means finding out which indicators to use in your machine learning models. And people are able to direct machine learning in really great ways so that it does a better job. Another thing I have seen is people are very good at asking the right questions. Business users are really great at asking the right questions. So they are never happy with just one retention model. It's almost always an evolution. So they might ask about the retention as the first question, and once they have a running solution, then it's almost always a number of follow-up use cases, either that or looking back at their data sources and trying to we identify which data sources are the most important for our customers, so they can go back to their data sources and find out which of them should be prioritized. And in terms of the use cases, I have seen our clients who said, you know what, I want to predict this, and I can predict this in 2 days. I can have a working solution in 2 days on my own. So when I hear that, I'm like, okay, good. We are able to provide value. My dream is to have our clients to have a question, and then a prediction question, and then having that answer ready for them in a very short time, so that they can continue their train of thought. They don't have to wait for weeks or months for the answers for their questions, and it is doable. So I'm surprised and proud of the evolution of business users when they are provided with a platform which doesn't require them to code in Python. Instead, they can actually give feedback, understand, and be part of the process.
Yeah, no, it really is very cool. And I think, again, I'm a broken record here, but do go check out the video and see. I think seeing is believing on this one. I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about kind of the state of the industry as a whole. If you've been listening to the podcast, we've had a lot of venture capitalists on over the past 6 months who kind of talked about the decrease in the amount of money going into the space. There's kind of fewer and smaller Series C's and Series D's. I think your perspective on this one's going to be really interesting because, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you've only raised a couple of seed rounds so far, and neither of those was for, an astronomical amount, but obviously it hasn't really impacted your ability to produce something that's resonating with the industry. My first question is just a simple one. Are you actually looking for more funding at this moment, or are you pretty happy with where you are?
We are not currently raising, not in 2023, but we are always looking for great partners. So what we see in our investors, Greg, they are a part of our company. They are my trusted advisors, and they are there to help for whatever I need. So this year we are focused on growth. So I would always have a conversation with whoever can help my company grow. And those people can be my partners as investors next year as well. So the short answer, we are not raising right now, and we are always looking for great partners.
No, it makes a ton of sense. And so, my follow-up question on that is kind of, broadly speaking, do you think it's possible for the fintech industry as a whole to continue, creating good, strong innovations with maybe less funding overall than we're used to? Or does it become too difficult at some point to create good technology when you're operating on a smaller budget? And obviously, you have your own experience, which I'm sure you can talk to, but what do you see kind of in the broader ecosystem as well? Is the path that you've taken one that other companies should be able to take as well?
That's another great question. One of the reasons that we have been able to have a great product with this little funding was twofold. One, me and my co-founder, we have a lot of expertise in machine learning and software development. So, since 2015, we have been iterating through the needs of our customers, in very short agile cycles. So we are able to see the need, know how to solve it with machine learning, and then implement it in a very short time. So the founders, I think, is important. If you have expertise in what you are building, and I believe that's a must, I think it is much easier to be able to create a great product in a shorter amount of time. So I believe it is possible to create good solutions with the right people. So you should make sure that you have the right people that knows the product and also that knows the customer as well. Having your customers as your partners very early on. And making sure that you are meeting their needs, I believe, is also another important factor. To be very frank with you, almost all my customers are my partners. They have played an important role in developing our product into what it is today. So it is possible. You have to make sure that you have the right people in your team and the right customers who are willing to be your partners.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's two very strong points. And for anybody who's listening to this thinking, how can I potentially navigate these slightly uncertain times from a venture capital standpoint? I think you've got two really excellent points to follow right there. Get the right people on your team early, and also get customers early who can help you and guide you towards, as you heard me say earlier, one of the things that struck me about the platform was how focused it is on the bottom line, on being applicable to real world solutions. And I'm sure a lot of that came from those conversations with your early customers in terms of, where is there a need? Where should we be prioritizing this? And I think you can see the result again with the best of show win. So last question for you. We're almost out of time, but what's next for Tazi from here? What should we expect to see from you all as you continue to push forward and look to defend that best in show crown?
We are making the user experience on our platform even smoother now by adding conversational interfaces. So, as you know, everybody is following generative AI, and it will have enterprise applications, and we are going to be using some of those capabilities, but we are not going to be sacrificing in terms of precision, in terms of traceability, and also auditability for business users. Because in a financial institution, you have to make sure that you are being not biased, you are obeying the regulatory requirements, and you have a platform that continues working all the time. So we have been a highly monitorable platform that is easy to access by our users. We will continue being that, but also we will also have the risk always under control in terms of monitoring. I believe having AI accessible to a lot of people will turn this into a very good and useful technology. In the end, my hope is to have my mom to use this technology to make it that easy. We are not there yet, but we are working hard towards achieving that goal. But seeing business users being able to use AI to make their business better every day, and doing that with as little effort as possible. That's what we have been doing, and that's what we will be doing again every day.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really substantial goal to get the technology to a point where your mom can use it. I think all of us kind of at some point have this in the back of our minds. Could my parents use this? Could people in my life use this? Have we made it simple enough? And maybe there's something else to unpack too. At the end of the day, we're all still just building stuff to try and impress our moms. That's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to just make our parents.
I know, proud. And my mom is so hard to please.
Well, we're going to leave it there before we drift into some very deep waters. But Zehra, thank you so much again for taking the time to connect with me. Congratulations again on the Best of Show win. If you're listening, do check out their video from Finovate Europe, or come see Tazi again on stage at Finovate Spring in San Francisco coming up here in the next little bit. You've got another chance to see them if you are US based. So again, Tazi.ai, Finovate Europe Best of Show winner. Zehra, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Greg, and see you in San Francisco, Finovate. Take care.
The Finovate podcast is produced by Informa Connect in association with Provoke.fm Media. Check out Finovate.com for information on Finovate's upcoming shows and to learn how you can get involved. The discount code Finovate Podcast will save you 20% on tickets to all of our events. And you can email us at info@finovate.com for information on sponsoring, speaking, or demoing. Thanks for listening.